Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Semi-original guy here, aka Mr. Cannon from Advanced Wars by Web, bringing you a brand new video here today about somebody very, very special in Advanced Wars by Web. Mr. Poland, indeed, is the subject of the video today. Now, as some of you may know, Poland has broken the new highest overall elo ever achieved in Advanced Wars by Web, sitting at around 1,833 and some change. Holy macaroni and cheese, folks. This man did it. Some thought that nobody would ever dethrone Mr. Rip as the #1 player, but Poland did it for a short time. For a short time, indeed. He's not currently the #1 player, but he currently has the highest overall elo ever achieved in Advanced Wars by Web, and that is an amazing feat indeed. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at a few games that Poland played during his reign or rise into the 1,820 to 1,833 range. Starting with this one, because this particular game against this Chinese player here is the one that boosted him all the way to 1,833. It's a very quick game too. It doesn't last very long, but it's very detailed, and we're going to see if we can break down some of the thought patterns here. Now, I don't claim to be an expert in Fog of War or Advanced Wars by Web in general, but what I do know is I love to see things blow up. So hopefully that's what we're going to be seeing here today, folks. We got ourselves an Olaf mirror here today between these two players. So we're going to kick it off and we're going to see what went down on the road to the GOAT of Advanced Wars by Web. Now, this map is called Quota Lota Redux. Now, this is a triple-based, double airport, double calling tower supported match with tons of properties in the center. Lots and lots of shoals too. Very, very low defensive terrain on this map, so very, very possible that we're going to see a lot of sneak attacks happen here. Now, the Olaf mirror, you know, it's kind of just one of the most standard things you ever see, folks. Olaf just is too good. He's too good of a character in Advanced Wars by Web not to play him most of the time. It's very difficult to go up against Olaf if you're not Olaf. So these players, these top players at least, definitely go with some meta picks for sure. Now, it looks like we are going for the airports, so both players are prioritizing the importance of the airports, but not Poland, just one player. One player. The Chinese player over here, prioritizing the airports, but no, not Poland. Poland doesn't care about airports. He gets one airport, that's all he needs. He only needs to build one air unit. That's it. That's all he needs. He'll probably capture the other one, though. I mean, obviously, you do capture the other one, but this man does not care. All right. So recons is the first buy. You know, that is a pretty standard thing. You know, we do see recons quite a bit in Fog of War. Now, some people will just say, you know, screw it to the recons and just go with a completely different approach, like just build tanks, yada, 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 get some artillery on the field. But personally, for this map, yeah, maybe artillery can be okay, but I really don't see it happening very often or at all, but maybe it could happen. I think this map is just a little bit too big for artillery, but we'll see if either of the players decide to build any at all. I think this is mostly a tank match. This is a tank map with some air units on the side. That is it. That's my prediction here. And we have left the safety of the headquarters. Moving the black boat downward to get a little extra boosting. Now, this boosty is very good because it boosts you all the way into the corner. I don't know if that's necessarily what he's planning on doing, but I can assume he's probably going to be going for this property here, so he can snag it real quick, which definitely helps the income game. As we can see, both players are basically like more or less just mirroring the buys. They're almost mirroring the moves. I think Poland might be a little bit ahead when it comes to... I don't even know if he's really that far ahead. I think both players are actually just dead even right here. Alright, so a recon has been exposed by a recon here. So now the information superhighway has begun here, folks, and both players are starting to get that intel. Very important to get that intel. Alright. Let's see what Poland decides to do. Oh, okay, so Poland's going in for the double hit, and he gets it. Ooh, that's a dirty hit right there, folks, and that eliminates a lot of information for the Chinese player here. He's not going to have access to that information anymore, folks. And Poland just brings the tanks in, has continuously purchased tanks out of the exact same properties, too, and actually base skips to get a second tank here, which is very good, in my opinion. Now, one reason why it's very good is because, one, it's Fog of War. It doesn't really matter if you base skip as much in Fog of War. It matters a little bit, obviously. But if you can get more vehicles on the field, you can surprise your opponent with more things exploding. And at the end of the day, you want things to explode. It just makes sense. All right. Curious. All right, so the Chinese player decides to go in with a recon tank buy when he could have went double tank infantry this turn, so that's kind of curious. Now that could be in response to losing the recon, so that could be a forced recon buy right there, which is maybe what Poland was expecting. You know, possibly he was expecting a forced recon buy after destroying the enemy recon, but this does allow Poland to get 2 free captures and drops the double infantry off and now begins to capture in the center. Buys the battlecopter triple infantry this turn. Does this tank cover? Ooh, perfect tank placement here actually, because it covers every single capping infantry, and we all know how juicy a capping infantry is to a recon and or a tank. They almost cannot resist going in for set attacks. So we'll see if we're going to have that happen or not. Well, recon doesn't take the bait. Tank doesn't take the bait. Nope. See, at this level of play, folks, you don't take bait. You don't take bait as often as anybody else would. But these guys, oh yeah. No, they're good. They are definitely solid players. All right, anti-air purchase now. Basically right on time here, too. Battlecopter is into the fray. Anti-air is coming out. Now, every once in a while, you can do some sneaky stuff and sneak out a super early battlecopter and catch your opponent off guard, because they usually don't buy an anti-air until, you know, relatively around day 8, 9, 10. But it is kind of difficult to pull that kind of a move off. Now, it's day 10 right now, and as we can see, Poland has done a minor front shift. He attacks up north, destroys an infantry, but doesn't press the attack. Actually brings everything into the center of the map and is now pushing his advantage somewhere else, which is very interesting. You want to keep people guessing in Advanced Wars by Web, that is without a doubt. Oh, interesting. So we take the tank hit onto the recon, maybe expecting a one-shot there, but doesn't get the one-shot. But at the same time, Poland does not want to attack that tank. It is not a winning battle to attack that tank. It's going to get healed up, and technically it could get healed up by 30% with the additional black boat being there. So we'll see if he decides to go in for that. I very much doubt that being a possibility. But I feel at this point the Chinese player here has realized that Poland probably is front shifted. And the majority of his forces are now down south, so he's done a shift of his own in order to meet Poland head on in the south here. Let's see if it works out, though. Alright, capping 2 more properties up north. Taking advantage here, finds a recon and takes a big hit on the recon, going for a capping property, threatening 3 caps down south, 1 flip in those 3 caps as well. Holy moly, but there's a lot of tanks exposed right now. There could be at least 2.5 tank, or I would say, well, there's 3 tank hits, but taking out 1.5 tanks could definitely be possible right now. I wonder if the Chinese player here is going to go in for that move. I'm not quite sure if he thinks it's a reasonable move or not. Personally, to me, I would probably take the attack. If I'm going to be completely honest, I probably would take the attack, and I would want to interrupt the city, because I would not want my opponent to get my income, and I could take out a tank and a half. Now, there is the possibility that maybe he's got something waiting in the shade that can counterattack me, but personally, that's a risk I'd be willing to take. Now, would it be A risk that is completely correct. Maybe, maybe not. It doesn't go in for the third tank hit. Actually holds the third tank back. It just goes in with the 2 tank hits. So very interesting play right here. All right. That's actually quite the gnarly little attack, and gets a solid attack on the tank too. Takes it down to 4. Now this is due to the plus 20% firepower bonus from the double comm towers on this map. Double comm tower maps. Oh man, those are some dirty maps. Those are dirty maps indeed, folks. You can get a lot of damage with an extra 20%. That is the threshold right there, folks. Alright, so now that Poland has spotted the anti-air up north, maybe he's making an assumption that there is no second anti-air. Going in, taking the quote-unquote free attacks on the tanks here. Doesn't take out the second tank, but does a hefty amount of damage to the first one. Backed up by the battlecopter. Would be very questionable whether or not it's a good idea to go in for this attack, even though our Chinese player does have 2 tanks in the vicinity in order to do those attacks. Without a battlecopter or the anti-air in that area, it is an incredibly risky move. Not sure if I would want to go in for that move or not, but we'll find out here, folks. Poland's sitting at 30 units, and our Chinese player over here sitting at 26. He does go in for the attack, does the double, takes out the tank. Actually brings a battlecopter in. I don't believe it's in... No, it's not in a position to actually cover these tanks just yet. But it is going to be there very soon. But it would appear that Poland is going to be able to get a decent hit here, if he so chooses. He might so choose to go in for set attacks. But maybe this is the end of this attack and he's going to be forced to pull back. Find out right now, folks, because it is once again Mr. Poland's turn here, sitting on day 12. So Poland goes up north, attacks an infantry, double taps the infantry down south, goes in for a flip, goes in for the attack on the cap and infantry, brings a few more units forward, and then shifts everything up north. This man is done fighting in the south. He's done his attack, and now he's moved on. That's going to force the Chinese player to go and recover, regroup. He's going to spend a little bit of time doing that. This is not going to be an effective attacking turn for him now. And with the co-powers getting very, very close to critical mass here, every single little engagement counts way more than it should. That is for sure. Now, doesn't really appear like he's going to have enough attacks in order to get a co-power, so that's sort of out of the realm of possibility. We'll see what happens here. Poland's a little bit closer, though. He's only 9k plus a bit here away. Let's see exactly how much. That's like 10.05, 10,050, 10,500 funds to go. That's actually fairly... It's not impossible to get. That's actually fairly easy to get. But it depends on if some sacking is going to happen here. Definitely going in for a lot of tank hits here. Gets the super. Pops it before his opponent, which is insanely critical when you're playing the Olaf mirror. The first person to get the power usually is the winner, more or less. It's very difficult to actually fight into that situation because essentially all you're really doing, the opponent gets to pop the power first. They get the 10% defense bonus, they get the 10% offense bonus, and they get the first attack with the global damage. Your opponent would only be able to get the 10% offense and defense, but fighting into the person that popped the power first with those defensive bonuses, they just don't get as much offensive ability out of it. So that was the game that skyrocketed Poland to number 1 with the highest elo. It wasn't actually the game that skyrocketed them to number 1 in general, but lots of tactics used in that one, lots of front shifting. I think it was a very clear demonstration of excellent top level play. Now we're going to take a look at another game, which is a little bit stinky. I'm not going to lie to you folks. but I think it's a very, very good representation of some high level, high funds games, and I know that we love those around here. So let's take a look at that one too. Alrighty, folks, so this one is a high funds match played on a map called Silverado. Now, this one is, it's not really a mixed base match because they kind of are, all the bases are kind of relatively in the same area, but it's more like a base split match. You know what I mean? You might not know what I mean, but it's a base split match. We got triple base airport comm tower port support matchup here, and a whole lot of decisions that need to be made. Now we got Mintaxer versus Poland for this one, Eagle versus Hawk. This one should be very interesting. All right, so let's take a look at this game here, folks. First things first, standard infantry builds, because you got to get the infantry on the field, folks. It's the #1 priority in Advanced Wars by web. Never forget that. I don't think we said it on the first one, so just making sure we say it on the second one, because it is the #1 priority. The #3 priority in Advanced by Web, though, is getting some APCs on the field for some hot boosty action, folks. I think the APCs on this map in particular, incredibly good. Specifically because it is very easy to get bottlenecked over here in this corner, and I think the APCs just do a really good job at getting the infantry out of the danger zone here. And then it will also allow some tanks to get out a little bit easier, but mostly you get an infantry over to the corner properties way quicker, and that is super important. Super important. You gotta get it done. Alrighty. Got the sick boosties. Now, it would appear that Poland does a little bit of a different boost than Mintaxer. Mintaxer decides to go in for the 3-point move, so the infantry will load into the APC and then he can drop off afterwards. But Poland went for the immediate load to get the extra boost on the property, which will allow him to capture one of the forward properties right away, which is kind of neat. I like the idea. All right, let's see what happens here. Oh, a rocket buy. That's interesting. I wonder, like, rocket buy. The rocket buy is obviously to get the airport, because it's one of the only things you're actually able to build that can hit that pipe seam without having to base lock yourself with an artillery. So the goal here is to acquire the airport. Obviously, you want to get an airport at Eagle because air units are just far too good as Eagle. Well, far too good with any character necessarily. So yeah, that's what we're doing here. I wonder if Poland's going to do the exact same thing, because I feel like if your opponent is going for the air units, you kind of are almost forced to go for the airport yourself. So let's see if he builds a rocket in order to do that, or what will he purchase in order to get that done. Are we going to be seeing a rocket purchase? Rocket purchase. Very cool, folks. Not every day you see rockets get built in Advanced Wars by Web that actually have a significant purpose. A lot of the time, they're usually late game purchases in order to break up a stall war that's happening, but not on this map. This map, the rocket has a clear set purpose. So very cool indeed. I very much enjoy that. And I will extra enjoy it if these rockets do tend to get bullied, or if these rockets do get bullied over here on the channel. Now that does tend to happen, so we'll see if it happens again here today. Although the rockets are basically the farthest possible location that they can be to get bullied. Like it's not going to happen anytime soon, so it might be a few days, you know, might be a couple days, but it won't be too many days, hopefully. All right, the black boats have been purchased. And we have a drop. There's a single drop there. I think that was a double load over here from Poland too. So this guy's going to go and drop himself off on the comm tower as well and get that firepower bonus. You like to see it. It would appear like Poland has been stopped up north though, because now he can't really push any farther due to the tanks. He needs to get some tank presence over here Same thing happening down south for Mintaxer, though. He's in a situation where he's not going to be able to push basically any farther than he is right now. Not without some significant units in the vicinity. That's what he needs. He needs some sick units. Not that unit. Now, in high funds, the Neo Tank is an incredibly powerful unit. Incredibly stinky. I can understand why people will buy it in high funds. It's just, you got so much money and so much temptation, folks.
Stinky.
But with all things, remember that if you do purchase yourself a Soiled Abomination, that you do get yourself some high quality soap in order to wash that stink away as quickly as possible. Now, I'm assuming that Poland is going to be forced to buy a Soiled Abomination in kind here, without a doubt. Oh, nice little block over here from Poland. Actually, that will secure him that city. Because I do not believe that the tank will get a one-shot on that APC. It won't happen. But Poland has purchased the Soiled Abomination. He buys it with a lander too, which is kind of extra neat. Now, there's two things that the lander is going to be able to do here, and I think both of them are kind of cool. Except for transporting the Neo Tank. That's like less cool, but I get it. Alright, so we load up units out of this base, and instead of only being able to move here, they can move here and get into the center super quick, or get themselves a little extra 2 movement. The other thing that it can do is it can actually go right here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If a lander goes right here, you can load up all your unit, your 6 movement unit right here, and then drop them immediately into the center, which completely bypasses this choke point over here, which I think is also a very excellent move. So we'll see. Maybe is Mintaxer going to do the same thing? Is he going to go in with the lander purchase? I want to see. I want to see if he's going to do it. Oh, he doesn't buy the lander. No, well, doesn't buy the lander, folks. We all seen it here. Alright, it takes a singular tank hit. Very curious with the infantry movement, though. So Poland moves his infantry here, instead of moving it here. Now, this obviously can capture the comm tower, but that leaves a tank exposed right here. And that also leaves this infantry exposed. Now, if the infantry was here, it would only be exposed to a tank hit, but maybe he doesn't want to take the infantry hit. But I don't really see any other reason to go right here, aside from the fact of maybe denying like a 2-hit on this, which is not possible. So I'm not sure what the purpose of that is, aside from just putting an infantry in capping range of the comm tower, which is entirely possible. Maybe that is the reason in general. Purchases another Soiled Abomination. Another schmelly Abomination, folks. We got the flippin' Black Wave versus the Lightning Strike here, though. This is like revenge of Green Earth. You know what I mean, folks? You know, back in the cartridge days, Hawk attacking Green Earth, Eagle forcing to defend Green Earth, Hawk just being overpowered all the time. I think we just got a campaign mission here. But campaign Hawk being controlled by Poland, that is a scary thought. Maybe that would make a nice video one day, folks. You never know. Alrighty, here we go. So manages to cap several properties here. Actually starts bringing the Neo Tank over to the top corner instead of putting it down south. Now you could push it down south and meet the opposing Neo Tank head on. But Poland doesn't do that. Poland realizes that there's a Neo Tank chain, a soiled, smelly Abomination chain coming from the western portion of the map here, and he does not want that to get any further, so he's bringing his own smelly unit over there to hopefully stop it. That's what's going on here. And there's a lot of charge attacks going on right now. These 4 charge attacks. That's obviously what it's for. Alright, loads up the APC. And now Mintaxer actually has got himself a lander. He realizes that the lander is the strongest unit in Advanced Wars by Web, and you need to build them. Without a doubt, that is what is going through this man's mind right now. And both rockets are starting to get into a position where they're going to see some play here very soon. That's what I'm talking about. Let's do it. Oh, I'm surprised the Neotank didn't just sit on the city or sit on the HQ. Now, obviously, Poland can't really push any farther right now because there's too many units. Needs to build up the forces here, but it's one of those very difficult situations where if you sit back too long, well, your opponent is Eagle, and he gets Lightning Strike. And Lightning Strike in high funds is possibly the most devastating ability in Advanced Wars by Web. Unless you're fighting Kanbai. Because then it just doesn't really work all that much. Even if you get the double attacks, it doesn't really do a whole lot. But it's still very devastating. Now, Mintaxer has built himself the classy boat of the sky. The bomber has entered the battlefield. Poland immediately counters it with a fighter purchase. Both of them are on opposite corners of the map. They could not be any farther from each other, but I believe in just a few short days they will be meeting up with each other without a doubt. And let's see if I'm correct about this, because they do move very, very far and very fast. So let's see it happen. Neotank can't one-shot an infantry on a mountain. What a dork. Alright, got it. Another Neotank. Too many of them, folks. It's too many. Too many of them on the field. Hate it. Anyways, let's keep going here. So Mintaxer doesn't want... Neither player really wants to go into... Neither player really wants to go into range of their opponent right now. They're very, very frightened of the combat at this moment. They want to find a way to eliminate one of the enemy big boys over here before they go in. I think that's one of the ideas. That could be one of the plans that's going on here. Builds a sick wall though. Maybe Poland is going against what I just said there, and he's just pushing in right now. He's actually got an infantry in range to capture the headquarters if he so chooses. I don't know if he would go in for such a move, but he's primed and ready to acquire it. So now Mintaxer has to respond to that. He can't just not respond to it. And I think there's a rocket in range of the HQ as well, folks. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, it would appear that there is. So anything that goes on the HQ to defend will be blasted by a rocket. Now, the rocket isn't going to do a whole lot of damage against the Sword Abomination on the HQ, unfortunately. But with, I think it's like 130% firepower right now from Mr. Hawk. Mr. Hawk, I think you're going to be doing like quite a bit of damage, like at least a little bit. Yeah, 39 to 44. So more likely than not, you'll be hitting it for 4 damage. Heals up to 8 the next turn. Costs quite a bit of money to your opponent. And you're just having a good time right there. But being very, very careful with the shifting. And a Mega Tank. A Mega Tank has made its way onto the field. That is incredibly cool. You'll love to see a good Mega Tank purchase, I'll tell you that much, folks. Alright, so how do we respond to that? Now we know that there's a Mega Tank coming. We're pretty close to having a co-power here. Are we going to be seeing some Black Wave action over here? Now, I feel like popping a Black Wave this early, I don't know if it would really yield you enough benefit at this very moment. So I think we're going to be probably saving for a Black Storm. I mean, Black Storm just hits way harder in the long run. But Black Wave is good when you're in a pickle. Alright, going in. Eagle, he's showing some courage right now. He's showing some courage. He locks in the Sword Abomination. He locks in a Neotank within bomber range, no doubt. And artillery range. That's a solid little play from Mintaxer. And the interesting thing about this is it's such a solid play that if Poland decides that he wants to push in right now, that probably will charge the lightning strike. And then he's going to have to eat a lightning strike afterwards. So he's going to have to play this turn very, very carefully. Bomber is out of fighter range too, so we got to keep that in mind. I think probably best case scenario is maybe Poland can hit Mintaxer really, really hard, and then maybe pop the Super Co-Power afterwards, do the damage with the Super Co-Power, and then mitigate the amount of damage that Lightning Strike does. I think that could be a possibility. Oh, he pops just a normal Co-Power. Very cool. All right, pops the normal Co-Power, and this is actually an incredibly interesting move. So this is incredibly sneaky. Pops the Co-Power. Now, take a look right here. This tank was already at 1 hit point. So when the Co-Power is popped, it automatically takes this tank down to the lowest possible amount of hit points that it can have, which means that any damage that you do to it will guarantee a KO. So this 2 HP infantry going in, that's almost a guaranteed KO right there. So kind of smart move. Smart move for the wall break right here. Goes in with the tank, hits it with the flipping rocket, and then releases the Neo tank, releases the Solar Abomination to hit the other one. Drops another Neo tank, takes another hit over here, and then carries on business as usual. Now, what is going to be the attack down south? Puts the fighter into a safe spot. Beautiful. You love to see that. Perfect. I was getting mildly worried there for a second, but we're safe. We are super safe. Another fighter too, just to back it up. All right, so that was a big hit. That was a big hit. Did lots and lots of damage over on the Western Front. Doesn't really leave Mintaxer with a whole lot of attacks that he's able to do with the Lightning Strike. And look at the flipping Solar Abomination count over here from the Poland. Poland's sitting at 5 smelly boys, and Mintaxer only sitting at 4. One of them being at 3 hit points right now. It's quite a bit of a difference here. But Mintaxer is Eagle, so technically that counts as double as long as they can get in range. So let's see if he manages to do that. Unfortunately, he's not going to have any big DPS coming from the Mega Tank in the next little while, but he's pulling back. All right, so he doesn't want to Lightning Strike yet. And to be fair, that's a good idea because he doesn't really have an effective, strong Lightning Strike to utilize right now. If he uses Lightning Strike, he loses leverage and he doesn't do a lot of damage. So yeah, this just makes complete sense. I 100% agree with this. Now let's see what Poland does in response, because he is just rolling in here, doing the damage, sitting at 46,000 income per turn as well. Mintaxer sitting at 38,000, 19 to 23 properties, 2 comm towers for Poland to 1 for Mintaxer as well, leaving Hawk in that 130% firepower range, while Mintaxer, the Eagle player, only sitting at 110 for most ground units. Air units sitting at 125 with the additional defense. But now this is where it becomes very tricky, incredibly tricky, because you want to wall off strong enough so that Lightning Strike can't really break your line. And I think Poland is doing a really good job at that. But this little clump of units down south is something that very much worries me. But he doesn't really push up with it. He goes into the corner and eliminates them, but that also puts 4 Neo tanks completely out of the fight, out of the range in the center of the map over here. So we could just be possibly really holding out for that Lightning Strike and just biding our time, getting the comm tower and building up here. When it's a global league map, you can do that kind of thing, folks, because there's no limit to the amount of time that you have. But ooh, Battlecopter comes in, does damage to the Mega Tank, and then we got some sick attacks over here by the HQ, refortifies the Wall of Stench, and then brings 2 fighters a little bit closer to the map, a little bit closer to the center. 4 fighters. Okay, so we got 4 fighters on the field. That's a lot of fighters. That's more fighters than I've ever seen. Maybe, I don't know, I might have seen more fighters than 4, but 4 is a pretty significant number here. I don't normally see that many, but it makes sense. The opponent is playing Eagle. You really don't want those bombers going anywhere. Those bombers are the strongest thing the Eagle has, so having a solid counter to those bombers is just a good idea. See if it pays off for him though, because yeah, things are getting pretty dicey here. Mintaxer is just unable to push in. He's forced to pull back, as we can see here. Attempting to flip a property right now from Poland though. Double property flip down south. If he gets both of these flips, that should put it at a 42-42 game. Dead even now that the comm tower has been captured also. So Poland wants to get that flip in order to keep his advantage. That is 5 Neotanks, 6 Neotanks over on this side of the map. Yeah. Oh man, we're gonna. Sir Classington, you gotta throw some soap over there. All right, thank you. Holy moly. Yeah, this is getting absolutely stinchy. All right, let's see. See what happens from here, because we're on day 17 right now, and we're just doing a lot of shifting. But this is what pro level high funds is all about. Sometimes you can just get in there and you can just yeet and have yourself a good time, but when your opponent is just as good as you need to take things carefully and wait for your opportunity. Now, sometimes the opportunity doesn't come, and if that's the case, then what you need to do is you need to make an opportunity. And I think that is what Mintaxer is doing right now. He is pushing up and he is popping the lightning strike. He is making an opportunity happen right now. He actually has an infantry in range to capture the HQ. Now, unfortunately for him, Poland is going to be able to pop that power next turn, super co-power even, injure all the infantry, so he will not have any infantry, Mr. Mintaxer, that are available for a 2-turn capture on the HQ. He's going to need the 3-turn capture. But he's going to do a lot of damage over here. Like, I can see such a significant chunk of damage happen. And I think even the Mega Tank is going to get some attack. Oh my god, the Mega Tank is going to get an attack here, folks. Oh, it's going to be great. Let's see it happen. He's going in. Oh, he doesn't one-shot it. He doesn't one-shot. That's risky. Oh, man. You know what? I don't know exactly how risky that was. It's probably... I don't know. Let's see. What's the roll here? Because we need to know. Because, man, I don't know if I would have risked it with a 3 HP tank. 95 to 101. Okay, so 95 to 101. So, best case scenario, this tank has 5 hit points right now. And if the tank has 5 hit points... Okay, so just enough. Just enough to get the minimum threshold. Okay. So Mintaxer probably saw that and knew it was safe. But, oh man, on paper, that looks like a risky hit. Going in for those hits, though. Seems kind of... Is there like a better way to do that attack? I'm not sure. I don't know. You know what? Mintaxer is an excellent player. He's an excellent player. So if this is the way he thinks to attack this, I'm gonna believe him. But going in here, taking that hit, but then going for the one that just got purchased. I don't know if I would go for that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, I feel like I would want to bring the bomber and attack this one. Because if you attack this one, you eliminate it. And then you can eliminate one of these, and then get a hit on this one. But then sort of have a little block here, and this one can't actually get forward. You would be able to take out 2 Neo tanks here, and then one would be injured. because you're gonna get hit by the black wave, so you really want to do as much damage as you can. This one is just not an immediate threat as soon as the power is popped, because these ones are immediate threats. So I'm surprised that he would want to go in for that attack over the other one, but yeah, because I can just see this push being, I can just see this being fairly countered. Maybe, I don't know, it's a pretty significant amount of damage, I'm not gonna lie, but Mintaxer loses 2 bombers in this engagement for 1. But maybe his ultimate goal here, maybe the plan, is just to capture the HQ, and he just wants to throw as much filth in the face of Poland that he can just capture the headquarters and not have any issues with it. Maybe that's the plan. I don't know. We'll see. Pops the super. Got double fighter attack. And he's got, basically at this point, he's got 3 days to get himself to the headquarters. So Mintaxer has to hold out for 3 days here. And Poland has 3 days to get himself through this filthy wall and get himself to the headquarters. And that battleship purchase, is the battleship going to be enough? So battleship can move here. So he moves 1 square down, and that's all he needs. He just needs to get right here into this reef. And then he locks the headquarters if he gets into the reef. And I don't think that there's anything. I don't really like the join cap right away, though. I mean, maybe it's fine, but it seems kind of unnecessary. There's not another infantry in range. And this gets in range right away, so you just cap it with the 8. It sits at 4 at that point. What's the roll with a battleship against the infantry? Maybe use a power. It's a mine. Oh, there's actually, you know what? There's actually a fairly decent chance that if he went in with the 8, capped again at 8, and then join capped, and then used a normal co-power, he might be able to cap this. I don't think he's gonna cap it with this particular play now, though, because he caps it, he takes it down to 2. Maybe he might get it. I guess the battleship did do a pretty significant amount, right? Okay, so it probably would work this way. But if a power gets popped, it's not going to work. And there's a lot of units available for power. Oh, man. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of units here. That's a lot. All right. Excuse me. Oh, my. All right. Poland just full sends to the HQ. Because I think he knows. I think he senses that this is Mintaxer's last stand here. If he doesn't get the headquarters here, well, he probably isn't going to win the game. Let's see if he can hold on to it. Captures the headquarters, sitting at 2. At this point, he just wants to wall. He wants to wall, and he doesn't want to really brawl all that much. He just wants to wall and not brawl. Because the more he brawls, the more power Poland gets. It's weird that it wouldn't let me go. Okay. Let's see here. So he uses the power. Oh, it's not letting me go. Okay. So he uses the power. And then he pushes in like this. He's got double Neo tanks here. And he's got this infantry sitting on the HQ with 2 hit points left. Now, as we know, the battleship will be able to do, at this point, 61 to 66% damage. So it's going to require at least the battleship and then another hit in order to secure the interrupt. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of potential to get through here. Let's see what Poland cooks up here. It's Poland's turn. Let's see. Moves the fighter back. Moves the other fighter back. Sacrifices the infantry. Sacrifices another infantry. Rocket gets the attack. 4 HP infantry gets the clear. Interesting. Sacks the tank. Attacks with the Neo. Battleship? That's interesting. Battleship attacks the Neo. Doesn't attack the infantry, he attacks the Neo. Poland is going for charge. He pops it. He pops the co-power, gets an additional hit, gets another hit, and then gets the Neo hit on the HQ, breaking the wall and finding a way to get through. Holy moly. Parks the fighter right on the headquarters right after that. That was a beautiful, beautiful break right there. Most people would just think, hey, let's just use the battleship. But no, not Poland. He uses the battleship, but he uses the battleship in a very brilliant way right there. So well played right there. At that point, Mintaxer resigns because he understands at that point it is a lost cause to continue to fight. What a match between those two. And I think it's very easy to see why Poland reached the level that he did. So I just want to say, as a member of the original Holy Polish Empire, congratulations to our captain, and I am looking forward to seeing the wonderful games that this man will play in the future. Congratulations on reaching the highest ELO scaling, and I pray and I hope that you will be able to make it back there once again. So until next time, folks, hopefully you enjoyed those. If you did, consider leaving a like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. I will be seeing you on the next one. Take care of yourselves, and bye-bye for now.